last time on Oz Hour?
Okay, last time on Oz Hour, Dorothy is making her way to San Francisco on a very not safe journey. Earthquakes left and right, rumbling. And she finally gets to San Francisco 5 hours late because of the earthquakes, meets this little boy, little Zebby. We love him. He is like, wow, you're so late. Ha ha ha. And then all of a sudden more earthquakes happen. The fucking ground and earth opens up. Then all of a sudden they're falling, still falling. And they end up in this weird glass place with glass homes where they can like fly around and have superpowers. And Zeb's like, ew, that's gross. And Jim is like, I can talk now. And then Eureka is also like, woohoo, yeah, I love this. And then they run into the wizard, who also gets brought into the middle of the earth. And then he's like, aha, I'm better than your little sorcerer, and slices the man in half and finds out they're vegetable people and not meat people. That's it.
Hi there, and welcome to Oz Hour, the only place where you can hear everything you never knew about the wonderful and strange land of Oz.
That's right. With the help of some alcohol, we will be discussing each of the 14 books in L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz series.
Today, we will be continuing with Book 4, Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz, covering chapters 4 through 8.
We are your hosts, Blake Stone
and Wyatt Swanger.
And joining us is our resident Oz initiate, Hannah Aguirre.
Hey!
Oh my God.
That was not the energy to bring into this recording moment.
So that's what we're doing today. Hannah just played last time on, where she recapped what happened at the beginning of Book 4, Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz. It took her 1 minute and 5 seconds to cover it. Hannah, you did pretty good. There are some things I'd like to clarify for the audience, though. Okay. Dorothy is coming to Hugson's Siding from San Francisco, where the little boy she meets, Zeb, is her cousin by marriage.
The cousin, that's right. I keep forgetting that.
And then just one thing I really wanted to point out is that they do not have superpowers, but gravity is weird down there.
It was giving superpowers.
Yeah. No, I have in my notes that they fly around.
But no, I mean, that was pretty good. I'm going to call it like a B-, which unfortunately does not a winner make.
Okay. B- is fair.
Oh, were you on my side, Wyatt?
No, I was going to go lower, but
okay,
a B- is already at the bottom of the 80 range. So
okay.
I think that's fine.
So before we started recording, Wyatt went ahead and whipped up some delicious looking cocktails. What are we going to be drinking?
Tonight, we are drinking Dama Fruit Margaritas, the meaning of which will reveal itself, and the recipe for which you can find on our Instagram at Oz Hour Podcast. It is just a peach margarita. It's peach. So.
All right, let's give it a slurp.
All right.
Ooh, pulpy.
It's pulpier than I thought it would be.
I like that, actually.
It was alarming.
Too. It feels like breakfast time.
Good,
I always get extra pulp in my orange juice, so that's so good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fucking
I love
good.
pulp.
That tastes like it's from an Applebee's, except you can actually taste the booze in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's strong. So.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's hop into the story.
Chapter 4, The Vegetable Kingdom.
So, like the last thing that the wizard did was slice Gwig in two. So he's got to wipe the veggie juice off of his sword. And
Gwiggin's dead.
Gwig is done.
Gwig is dead.
Finished.
Yes.
I feel kind of bad.
Well, he did try and kill the wizard.
The thing is,
that
like,
true.
Yeah.
Me or her,
Yeah, I guess you have to choose. And at least it wasn't a horrible death. It seemed quick.
It did seem quick.
The way that the sorcerer was trying to kill the wizard seemed like it would be long and brutal.
He was like, this is going to take 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
The best thing he could come up with his magic was to suffocate him. Does that seem right?
No.
And he gave him too much time to react.
Yeah.
He built a sword.
He could have just quietly made it so the wizard died. Okay. Well, anyway, Gwig is dead, and probably because he's not a very good sorcerer or very smart. But
R.I.P.
Yeah. At this point, though, the people of the city, the people of the Mangaboos, are taking his body in both halves out to go plant it in the public garden. And the prince is like, hey, everyone, come to the public garden. I'll show you how our land works or whatever.
Jim is like, did somebody say garden? I'm starving.
Oh, he's a hungry boy.
He pulls the buggy and, you
Wait, does that mean that Jim can eat the people?
He can eat.
He probably could. They probably all could.
They could.
Oh yeah,
they
I guess
cooked
that's
them.
true.
They
Yeah.
could. They're just vegetables.
But specifically, Jim is expecting like a normal garden,
like
where
grass,
there's
like even just
grass.
grass.
Yeah,
because
and so
everything's
far,
glass all around.
Everything
them.
is
Yeah.
glass. The pavement is glass. Everything. So, but they all pile into the buggy. And Eureka hops on top of Jim's back, and then they just go. The prince leads them, and again, everybody's following them.
Yeah,
they have nothing to do down here
Yeah,
because they're
seriously.
following them.
Let's watch. Let's watch that balloon fall from the sky.
Yeah. But everyone is also still not smiling or frowning. They're all just being like weird and plain, which is
Okay.
explained that they don't have hearts, which I guess we know now because the inside of them is
it's
just a
giving
potato.
a Tin Woodman.
Yeah,
right.
I guess so. It is. Yeah.
But they make it to the garden, which is like beautiful. There's brooks and streams that keep the area lush, and like all these like glass bridges and walkways everywhere.
Yeah, it's super pretty, like weird plants and flowers. Dorothy and Zeb both like hop out because they're like, "What the fuck is this?" Like they're
Giving like future city.
yeah,
Totally.
oh yeah,
Totally.
with the glass. And like Zeb is like, "Okay, these bridges are beautiful. Who made those?" And the prince explains that the bridges all grow. They just grow. They grow there.
And
They
Dorothy is
grow
like,
longer, or
they
they
just-
just
They just
they
grow
grow
from
better.
nothing, I guess.
Like,
Well,
I don't
so
know.
like
That's a good question though. Is it a small bridge that gets larger, or is it like a half a bridge that then finishes?
yeah.
So So the buildings also grow. Everything that's there, they've never built anything. It just grows. So that's why they hate it.
So a
when things
city's
get
just
broken.
being built, basically.
Yeah, so I mean, like
Yeah.
the fact that like the Rain of Stones destroyed so many of their buildings, they just have to like wait it out. Like they have to wait for it to grow back, so it's super inconvenient and annoying. They don't know how to mend
weird.
it.
Yeah. But yes, everything there grows though, and everyone thinks that's super strange, because that's insane.
That is.
Yeah.
And then they just keep going.
Yeah, they're looking around. I feel like I would get so nauseous by this. Like they just keep noticing how like the colors are changing and moving. Like nothing
Oh,
they're
yeah.
looking at is staying
From the
right.
Sixth
They don't
Sense.
even.
It's like a mushroom trip.
It is
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
constant.
Very
Like I
psychedelic.
feel like I would like feel my heartbeat in my throat. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I just need to die.
My stomach would be hurting.
But Jim finds a field of grass. He starts eating.
Yeah. He complains that it's multicolored, but it tastes fine, so he'll just eat. And then they come to this big plowed field, and the prince explains that that's the planting ground. And they look out, and there's some citizens out there with glass spades, like shovels. Which, did those grow too? Did the spades grow
Good
from nothing or from a
question.
bush? Or I don't know.
Maybe they cut them out.
Oh yeah,
you know, of
they
like
like
the mountain.
they
or
could like
something.
co-opt some of the broken glass from the buildings to.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Al Frank Baum didn't think about it. Why do we have
No.
to think about it?
He
No.
kind of went off on the city, though.
I know.
I feel like for being such an old book, that's like a really like futuristic
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, the picture of it
it's
is
so strange.
Yeah, I'm really liking. I feel like it's so different. Whenever I picture like the other places, like even Ev, it just is giving like old, like
It's like
Narnia
medieval or
castle.
something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
giving Narnia, and this is giving. This is
Interstellar.
giving, yeah, Interstellar, but also
Like the Jetsons or
what's that
something.
Dr. Seuss movie? The Lorax.
Oh, the Lorax.
I don't know why I'm really picturing the Lorax right now.
Ooh, I haven't seen that recently enough to know.
I
And
did
it's
kinda
giving, it's a
see
mix
it.
of that and also that weird robots movie.
They come with these spades and they dig 2 holes to put each of the halves of Gwig into.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they water him.
And then, like, does another sorcerer come about? Or
Exactly. The prince explains
Oh.
that the sorcerer is going to sprout soon, and then eventually he'll grow into a sorcerer bush.
will he be as bad as the first sorcerer were?
I was wondering
was?
that too. Like, are they all just going to suck?
You know, the thing is, Gwig was like powerful, I guess, but like
Maybe they
just-
have different personalities. Every
yeah,
time.
like it's not like you're being like reincarnated, you know.
It's
It's
not.
it's like you're not. It's like you're giving
You're
birth,
not. Yeah, it's not
basically.
Gwig again.
But it is like him.
Yeah.
They're related to him, so he's gonna grow a bush, and then a few more sorcerers are gonna sprout.
It's like Avatar.
Ew. Yeah.
It's like the Avatar. I feel like.
Yeah. I hate that. But they anyway. they're like, oh yeah, the prince is gonna, or the sorcerer is gonna sprout soon. And Zeb is like, oh, okay, like, do all of your people grow on bushes? And the prince is like, yeah, of course. Like they don't do that up there.
Yeah. They're like, oh no.
Like, no, they come out of vaginas, actually.
We claw our way out of our mother.
Well, technically, we're grown too, just somewhere else.
Yeah. Different. Ew. But you're right.
But they notice that even though the Mangaboos like don't have stairs, because they can walk through the air, they still like walk just like we do on the ground. Which it was interesting that he said that for me, because like, why? Like, then why? Like,
yeah, I didn't even write that down because I was like, okay.
But they follow the prince over to like look at more of the growing people behind this like hedge wall. I'm picturing like 4 walls. Does that seem right?
I think it's more ornamental than that, because like they go basically into like a big wall of hedges, and there's a bunch of beautiful big green bushes, and in the center of each of them is a mangaboo. And their clothes are growing on them, which earlier when we heard their clothes were green, I'm like, okay, that's why, because they're grown, I guess. But there's babies, there's like little flower buds that haven't sprouted yet, there's children, there's like men and women. So like it's them at all stages of development. It's basically like looking into a uterus and seeing it on a bush.
There are no living child mangaboos, because like that's just part of the like embryonic state, and then they
Oh, I see.
And Dorothy reflects that she's like, oh, that's why there were no children, because the children aren't ripe yet, basically. Like
so they're not going to be walking around.
Yeah, they're not gonna. They can't walk
also,
around.
like, how big is this place? Like, is it just like one? Is it like I'm thinking of in the Wizard of Oz movie, the little Munchkin Land. Is it about that size, or would it be like way bigger?
I imagine being way bigger.
You think way?
I think way bigger, only because like when they're like, oh, like these buildings have been growing for years. Like we're maybe on a 5-story building. Like it feels like there's a lot of space, but at the same time, the crowd of people I'm imagining is tiny. I'm imagining a huge city with 20 people.
I think that the town,
because it's like open, because it's I think what I'm getting confused by is the inside the earth.
It's hard because they also didn't say when they were they said when they were coming down it was a beautiful city, but they didn't say anything about the distance. Like, can they just like look up and see the earth and then see like where the wall of the earth is?
Is it like all dark around them? Can they go outside of this city and see other things?
They're so deep that like I guess there's like no like crust around them. And they're like below those suns. Those suns are already super way down.
Yeah.
So like as far as up, I don't think they see any part of what would be.
I guess it would just be black.
Not even see a sky.
They probably just look up and just see black beyond the suns. I guess that's
if they can even see past the suns. They're so bright.
That's true. I mean, Dorothy and the gang didn't see anything. Like, it took them a while before they could even see the suns. So all you have to do is look up. You see as far as they were, it's black. So, but it's disorienting and it's kind of confusing.
Okay, well, I'm feeling a little disoriented right now. So I think I'm fitting in with what everyone else is feeling. All the meat people.
I keep forgetting we're inside the earth as well.
Yeah. I feel dark right now.
Yeah, it's gonna get darker.
Open your eyes, Hannah. Open your eyes. Actually, speaking of, all the growing mangaboos are totally silent, eyes closed. They just seem completely devoid of life because they don't come alive until they're plucked.
Yeah, the prince explains that they aren't really alive until they get picked. And he was like, yeah, once they're separated from their stalk, like they gain the ability to move and speak, but until then they aren't really alive. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess life doesn't begin at conception in the land of the mangaboos because, but either way, that's a hot take. But they just kind of say, oh, okay, cool. And then Dorothy asks how long the mangaboos live.
Yeah, the prince tells her that like if they stay cool and moist, and they don't meet any accidents, then the average lifespan is 5 years.
5 years.
And this is going to come back later. The prince has been plucked for over 6 years, but his family is known to live for a very long time.
Because they're well taken care of.
Yeah, and they're royals. Yeah.
They're getting the best type of water, fertilization, all that stuff.
It makes me wonder.
Are their beds dirt?
No, because
they don't sleep, I don't think.
We'll interact with
you'll get some more flavor.
I'm so curious about this race.
But Zeb asks if they eat, and the prince is like, we are totally solid inside. Like, we have no reason more to eat than a potato.
I mean,
does.
you just saw one of our people. You saw their inside.
Yeah, did it
What are-
look like
what
there
are
was
we
a
gonna
stomach?
make?
Or did you just see more of what was on the
My
outside?
question is, where's their voices? Where are their voices coming from?
Oh my God, it's
Yeah, do their
Veggie
mouths move?
Tales.
Ew, it is
Ew.
Veggie
Oh,
Tales.
it is
Like
Veggie
If
Tales
you
disappearing.
like
Oh my
to
God.
walk with potatoes. All right. I'm so sorry for that.
No, that was good.
But yeah, like if they start to sprout, like that's what happens to them in their old age, and they just have to get buried immediately.
Yeah,
if that
they're like,
happens.
oh, like if you start to sprout before you're dead, like it sucks.
Is it painful?
Well, they bury
They
you
just get
alive
buried
because you
alive.
have to grow your next person. Yeah.
Oh, because
And they
it's
don't-
sprouting.
But they
Yeah.
don't breathe or
Oh, that's fucked
anything,
up.
so they just must slowly
I guess
die
they
in
just
that hole.
lay there.
That's a
yeah.
really scary
In the dark.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
well,
you
it
know
is,
it's coming.
because they only live for 5 years.
You don't even live for that long.
Yeah.
But I wonder, when you don't live as long, does it feel short?
Yeah, it probably feels.
Do you know what I mean?
It would only if you knew that people lived longer. If I found out that there was a race of people that lived 300 years, maybe I'd be like, oh man, I'm only gonna get 90, or whatever.
Exactly. That's
God
why, because it
forbid.
feels long for us because we're like, oh, 90 years. But what
Yeah.
if there's someone else around that lives for 600 years? And they're like, 90 was my
that was
teenage
nothing.
years.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's interesting too because the mangaboos like come alive as adults, like
Yeah, that's the
speaking
thing.
and stuff. So you die at 23.
they're
I
born
guess.
as adults. I've been an adult for more than 5 years, and I can fully tell you, I'm done. I don't
No.
want to do it anymore.
Whoa.
No.
We're going to put a
Call your
crisis
therapist,
hotline
everybody.
Yeah.
at the end of this episode. We love everyone. Everyone deserves to live.
Yeah.
But the wizard asks the prince, like, where were you born here in the garden? And the prince is like, oh, come look. And takes them to the bush that the Mangaboo royalty grow from. And in the center of the stalk is this beautiful princess in like a poofy soft satin dress.
This woman is perfectly formed in every way. She's poised, she has dignity and grace, and they're all kind of just like amazed at how beautiful she is. And the wizard is like, who the fuck is that? And the prince explains, oh, she's the royal princess. Like, once she's ripe, she's gonna relieve me of my princehood, and then I'll allow her to take over. And Dorothy's like, she looks pretty ripe to me. She literally could not be more perfect than she is now.
Yeah, the prince like hesitates and he's like, no. No, she's gonna be growing for a few more days, and also like I don't really want to give up the crown and be planted in the ground.
Yeah.
He's not ready.
No, he's not feeling ready. He's like, 6 years isn't enough.
I mean, I think he's been talking this bullshit for a year. I think that's how he got his 6th year. He's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no, we live forever. Actually, we live a
He's
really
just making
long
it
time.
up.
Yeah, just to get another day.
It's like
in.
if you don't sprout, then you can live as long as you want.
But basically, the prince is like, that's the worst part of our vegetable lives is like when we're in our prime, then we have to like be overtaken and then planted to grow and give new birth. So like he's sour about it.
Dorothy does not care that he's gonna have to be killed.
No, all Dorothy can say is this girl needs to be picked. She looks perfect.
She's like, are you looking at the same chick as me?
She's obsessed with a pretty girl.
She
honestly.
always is
She
obsessed with a
is.
pretty girl.
I get it. Like I was the same way. I saw a
wants to
doll
play
in a
with
cute little
dolls.
dress. I was like, "Give me that. I'm gonna play make believe."
My
no.
God,
No,
this
we're
is
not
a
doing
family show. But the prince like tells Dorothy, he's like, no, nonsense. She'll be fine for a few more days. Like, as a matter of fact, I think I should finish handling this business with you guys before I give up my throne. Like, I need to dispose of you uninvited strangers.
And
Which
what
is
could that
very
mean?
threatening.
I mean, yeah, like
That's
what
a
could that mean that
little
isn't a threat?
You're gonna bury
Because
me?
It's well, yeah. The wizard's like, oh, but well, I mean, basically, he's like, I have to destroy you.
Well, he just
Yeah.
made a sword in like less than 5 minutes. So
It's true.
Yeah. Well,
like he'll
the-
fucking slice each and every one of you and fucking make a stir fry out of it.
Seriously. And it's funny that you ask if he wants to bury them, because he actually specifically says, Zeb is like, what are you going to do to us? And he's like, well, I don't want to like bury you after I destroy you, because I don't want cats and
soil the
horses and
crops.
meat people growing around.
Yeah, it'll soil the
Yeah.
crops. It's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it might
From
fertilize them.
experience, I know.
Dorothy's like,
Yeah,
yeah. Dorothy's like, actually, we would rot, so you're good
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
It's
it'll
like,
get
shut up.
gross.
He's gonna keep the wizard though, because he's
6
like,
feet
hey,
under.
Ew. What do they? I guess they have the spades. I was gonna say, what do they even bury with? But they have glass shovels. But the wizard, the prince says he's gonna keep the wizard around because like they don't have a sorcerer yet. And the wizard's like, please don't kill us. Like, please don't kill us. Basically, like at least the humans.
Yeah. And the prince is like, but you don't belong here. And Dorothy's like, but we fell. Like, we don't want to be here. You're being mean.
The prince just doesn't care. He doesn't care.
And
Hate
Eureka,
the prince.
Yeah.
Eureka kind of goes off on a tangent here because she's like, you don't have to worry about destroying me because if I don't eat in the next like 5 minutes, I will starve to death. So
She's
I'll
like-
destroy myself.
Yeah, actually, if I don't get milk, you might as well. Like, I'm gonna save you the trouble. And Dorothy's like,
So
Eureka.
dramatic.
Yeah.
That's how my cat is, honestly. It's like he sees a little space in his bowl and he's like, yeah, we're done, I guess.
Yeah, that's every morning.
I guess this is the last time I'll see you.
You can't even see me from sideways.
But Dorothy's like, Eureka, like you're big enough to eat normal food. Like there's strawberries and like melons in the garden. There's like some jokes. Zeb is like, oh, have some milkweed and blah blah blah. But he's also hungry. And the prince is like, okay, shut up. Everyone shut up. None of this matters. I'm going to destroy you in the next couple minutes. And so you really do not have to worry about being hungry. And now follow me, please.
Damn.
Yeah, follow me to
Honestly,
your
it doesn't
doom.
it doesn't seem like he has a lot of control of the situation. He's really trying to like make up for it.
Yeah, he's like, okay, no, come on, keep
But
moving.
I'm going to
Yeah.
destroy you.
Again, I say, what happens when the mangaboos start crawling up out of the ground? Because I don't know what the people in charge are going to do around here either.
No.
honestly. Every man for himself.
Yeah.
We would, I guess, make baked potato.
Yeah. Be like, hey guys, they're actually just vegetable. Kill
Yeah,
them.
we would
Yeah.
have to.
Oh my God. People would
We
be
don't want
like-
it to go to waste.
People would be putting them in cellars and stuff. Okay, this is fun.
No. But that is though the end of chapter 4, the vegetable kingdom. And Blake, what would you call that?
I would call that chapter feeling melancholy.
Ooh.
Good one.
And you know you don't have to explain
You didn't have to
it.
explain the joke. I was just gonna
I just
say.
went for it. And, you know, I just thought I'm gonna jump in.
Yeah.
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 Chapter 5. Dorothy picks the princess. So the prince calls everyone to their death.
I almost forgot.
But the wizard is like, "Psst, Dorothy, hold on a minute."
Is the princess a gangster?
Or sorry, the
No, it's
wizard.
the wizard.
Oh, the wizard. Okay.
Dorothy, get back on over here.
Yeah. And the wizard's like, hey, I think you're right. The princess looks pretty ripe. So let's just pick her. And pretty much no matter what happens, we won't be in a worse situation than now. Because
Yeah.
like if the princess is just like the prince, they're dead.
They're gonna die
So,
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty
It's
good
like-
idea, actually.
Die. Maybe not die, but
Yeah.
also probably die.
The only thing is where it's like maybe the prince sounds like he's just gonna kill them. If the princess wants to torture them, that's worse. But it feels like it's on the outside of the possibilities.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Dorothy's like, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
They each take one of
L.
the
Frank Baum
princess's hands.
loves a woman.
He loves.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
He loves a woman.
Yeah.
And
he loves giving them voting rights.
He does.
That was one of the things
and
he was
also
into.
shows how they can be compassionate and kind and
Yeah.
not
And
so and strong without having to be like power trip here, power trip there,
Yeah.
power trip everywhere. Like get out
well.
of here, you stupid fucking 6-year-old sprout.
Oh,
Okay.
God, what just happened?
That it almost came out.
I'm sorry, I got mad.
Her
Do you
acid
throw
reflux
up when
got
you're
mad.
Not sure.
Oh my God.
Well, this woman, this princess, you will learn shortly, she is quite nice and kind because they grab her hands, they pull her loose from her stem and help her to the ground, and she just like kind of rubs her eyes for a second.
She flips a hair out of her
Oh,
face
yeah.
and then like just looks around and is just like, thank you very much.
Goddes.
Yes, that bitch is a goddess. But the wizard, like, she's like, thank you very much. Well, she says it just coolly and calmly, like they all do there. And the wizard, like, he gets on his knees and he's like, we salute you, your royal highness. Because he's trying to be, like, on her good side.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you like me, right?
Yeah, he's like, I saved you. And she's like, thank you for saving me. But at this point, the prince is, like, yelling from the other room, like, come to your doom, guys. Like, come on.
He's
The
like, hey,
animals,
remember?
the animals are with him.
Yeah, the animals
Zeb's
and
with him.
Zeb. Yeah, everyone just followed him.
That's giving, like, because this whole thing is giving me somewhat of a mushroom trip. You go in the direction of the bad trip, or you follow the princess, go in the direction of the good trip.
God, that's so funny.
He's like, follow me to your
He's
doom.
like, come on, over here.
It's
And then
like-
she's like, sprout. Sprout me.
Okay, yeah, they're really lucky they saw her.
Yeah. But the prince is not lucky he sees her.
Yeah,
Because
because apparently she could hear everything the
Yeah.
whole time.
Oh, so ears are grown.
so that's true. They gain the ability to move and speak, but you're right. They probably hear and feel, I guess. If
I
they
mean,
can
I
do that
guess
all the time.
babies in their moms
Oh, that's
do
true.
too.
No,
They
that's
do.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
aware of what's going on a
Gross.
little bit. But yeah, she's like, dude, you've wronged me. You were going to continue to wrong me if these kind strangers hadn't come along.
Yeah.
I've been ripe for at least a week, and I heard everything.
Yeah.
I know what you did.
Wow.
Yeah, she's like, you've been ruling unlawfully.
Yeah.
And the prince is like, I didn't know, I'm just a baby. Like, he just goes full, like, I didn't know about that. And then she's
we
like,
know that babies aren't around this parts.
That's what she said. Yeah,
What?
that's what she said. No, but what she did say is, "Give me that star."
yeah. She was like, he has a little star on his forehead, and she's like, give me the star of royalty. He does. And then he just marches away, and he's never seen again by our friends.
It literally says our friends don't know what happened to him or whatever.
Yeah.
What?
Which
So he's just done for?
They buried
He
him.
took
I mean,
himself to jail where he
yeah,
needed to
like,
be.
because, I mean, that's the thing is like,
Okay, so that was the easy
was-
villain.
it was pretty easy. I mean, thank God for the wizard. Well, for the wizard for many reasons, but like,
Yeah.
thank God he was there and said, "Hey, let's grab the princess." Like 'cause-
He was thinking.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's good to have an adult with
I
you,
was gonna
I guess.
say it's nice to have an adult around for the first time.
Exactly,
For the
because
first
we
time.
haven't really had adults with us.
No, I mean, keep in mind.
I mean, the
who-
fact he's already murdered someone.
Yeah, seriously, Dorothy
the
wouldn't
kids
have
were
done
not
that.
going to do that.
He took over.
He birthed someone.
Yeah, he birthed someone and started basically a new hierarchy. Like,
yeah, he's now the court wizard, and he made the princess. He's engineered an entire government since he arrived in the land of the Mangaboos.
Yeah.
he's okay. I used to be upset about him. I mean, I still think that he's
Yeah.
a liar, but this,
He's being rewritten in this book in a very different way than I
Yeah.
think that I would have thought of him
Yes.
prior.
and I'm
It's
here
like an
for
entirely
it.
different
Yeah.
guy, honestly.
but I do.
They
I like him so
recast.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, they recast and rewrote. It's like a
should
new
see-
author.
You should see the illustrations of him though, because he honestly looks so menacing and creepy in
Yeah.
like every single.
I've been
picture.
looking at some images actually,
really?
just so I have an image of the characters.
Jack
you know?
Nicholson in The Shining is
Yeah,
what he
that
gives
is. His
me.
brow is so like.
It does
Yeah,
kind of give that.
Sorry, Jackie, but just saying.
So the Mangaboos are pretty like distracted by this hubbub of this situation, and no one's really paying any attention to the meat people. So the meat people just kind of like hang back in the garden.
They just stand there and everyone passes. And then they go to get some food because they're fucking starving and they're not going to die now.
Yeah, they're instead of using the paths and bridges, they're like, we're gonna walk in the air because why not?
Yeah, they're just like, oh, a stream, and they just like walk over it as if there's an air bridge. And I'm like, it's obviously, why wouldn't they do that? Why do they even have bridges anyway to
Yeah.
begin with? I guess they
Yeah.
grew there. They grew there.
They grew
They
there.
didn't
Yeah, it
choose.
wasn't their choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just aesthetic.
Yeah, but Dorothy's like, why are we even able to do this here? And the wizard suggests that gravity is just super weak since they're close to the center of the earth, but also anything can happen in a fairy country.
Yeah.
But I think he's right. I feel like, oh, gravity's lower here because we're the center of the earth. I actually didn't look this up because I did not have some time this week, but
I almost feel like being more in the earth, it would be less likely that you would be able to lift yourself up. I feel like it would feel like a lot of pressure.
It would feel like more gravity.
The thing is, the
Yeah,
gravity's not
maybe.
pulling you, or the gravity's not pushing you down from the top. It's pulling you down from the bottom because gravity is like a function of mass. So if you're close to the center of the Earth, that's basically like being on a way tinier Earth with less gravity. So like,
I'm not even going to put a guess in because I like my DMs squeaky clean how they are right now.
if there's a physicist out there, please at Oz Hour Podcast and
Let us
Hannah will
know.
show me.
Let us know. We're really confused.
It is
Yeah.
funny though because he says that thing about like, well, anything can happen in a fairy country, and
Oh my
Zeb's
God.
like, oh, is this a fairy country?
I'm
And
like-
the wizard is like, yes. Shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah,
Oh!
we're
yeah.
surrounded by vegetable,
vegetable people.
Your pet is talking.
animals
Yeah,
are like-
Zeb, start taking notes on how Dorothy is handling things and be like that.
Yeah,
I know
you're
it's
gonna
new.
have to keep up.
I know it's new to you, but you know who did keep up? Belina.
Yeah.
Yeah, Belina
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
okay.
And she was a chicken.
And
was a
she was a
chicken.
chicken.
Yeah,
And all of
I-
a sudden she was able
Zeb.
a lot of things changed for her when she came into the fairy country.
Yeah.
And you know what she did? Adapted.
She
Yeah,
made that shit
she
work so
adapted
much
and
that
she
she
beat
decided
it.
to stay.
Yeah.
So oh yeah, that's right. She's still there. So Zeb, chill.
Chill.
Yeah, chill.
It's okay. You're safe now. The princess is here.
Sierra.
This beat it. Okay.
So
Okay.
they do decide to like chill though, and Zeb does get to chill. He goes and eats the melons and the berries. Eureka will not stop complaining though. She doesn't want melons and
She wants
berries.
milk.
She
Or
wants
meat.
or meat.
Yeah.
Or me.
Which
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean, I get
okay.
it. She's a feline.
Yeah.
I do get it, but I'm also like,
You know, I have
bitch,
to
there's
get-
none around here.
I have
you
to get
know?
my little babies. I have to get them
They
that
want what they
fucking.
want.
Yeah, they need the protein.
Yeah,
you know, we
no,
can't
they
have
do.
them low on
They-
protein.
the book literally says that Eureka keeps calling the wizard names because he won't use his magic to draw milk for her. And I'm like, what are those names?
Yeah.
Like,
You
she like,
motherfucking
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
you hunting wizard.
Give me that fucking milk.
Give me that fucking milk.
Yeah. And Eureka eventually though was like, you're probably not even a wizard. Like, you're not magic at all.
Ooh, she's going for she's cutthroat.
But it doesn't even cut his
yeah,
throat because
the-
he's like, yeah. Like,
Yeah, he's
I'm
like,
not.
I'm not a wizard. I'm just a humbug. Which then Dorothy chimes in and is like, oh, like, yeah, he's just a humbug. I've known him for a long time. And I'm like, how long is that? You met him for
it's
once.
been maybe a year.
Yes, that. And she only ever interacted with him in like for probably 5 or 6 hours total.
You don't know
when
him.
they were building that hot air balloon,
Oh, okay.
they had like an 80s montage of like get
Yeah.
on your feet. Like, so they,
Yeah.
they probably bonded.
And
a
because
little.
we did see that gives about 10 years time of getting
Yeah,
to
you're
know
right.
each other.
You're right. That's a bonding experience that I'm not gonna try and put down.
Yeah.
So she knows him
Honestly,
for a long time.
The wizard can get it.
Okay, slow down. Do you know how many times the book calls him a little old man?
Yeah.
Like, there's one point they all get into the buggy, and L. Frank Baum is like, there was plenty of space in the buggy because it was 2 children and a little tiny man.
I'm sorry, but
not
something
that
about
little tiny
him-
men can't be sexy. By the way, everyone's
Short
sexy.
king. I'm here for a short king. But
What
it's
about
just,
a 90-year-old one?
he just is taking charge, and he's really like he's confident.
You have Stockholm syndrome.
He's confident. He's very confident. The fact he's like, bitch, I ain't a wizard. I know what I am. I can like, you know.
Okay.
You're disgusting.
He can't do that. No.
Anyway,
I just don't have the Tin Woodsman here anymore, so I need someone
Yeah,
to
you need
crush
someone.
Yeah.
on.
All you have is children, a horse, a cat, and an old man.
I need to pick the adult.
There's
The old
one
man is the
legal
only one
option.
appropriate.
Okay, I get it. You're projecting. I get it.
Thank you.
but Zeb is kind of like, oh, like if he's just a humbug, how did he do that thing with the pigs? And Dorothy's like, must have been his humbug.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And she's correct because the wizard is like, oh yeah, like just since we're among friends right now, like. Yeah, those were just 9 tiny pigs. They're in my pocket right now, and it was just sleight of hand.
Eureka is like, oh yeah, let's see him.
Let's see those little piggies.
Yeah, bring one out. Bring one out. Let me see it.
She's
Yeah,
about to
because they're the
hunt.
size of a mouse, dude. They're the
She's
size
about to
of a
break
mouse.
40 necks.
Yeah,
But the wizard, he takes the 9 little pigs out. He lets them run around the grass. They start like, they're like, wee! They're like eating
They're
at the blades of
snorting
grass.
and grunting and
They're
rolling
so
around
cute.
Are
with
they
each
like
other.
little teacup
They're
Piggies?
the size of a mouse.
They're
Each-
smaller than
and
a
they're
teen
white.
pig.
Little.
And
They are so
Dorothy
small.
like picks one up and she starts petting it, and the pig is like, "Be careful, you're squeezing me."
Oh, so they talk to
The
you.
wizard is. That's what the wizard says. He's like, "Oh, great."
But but somehow he's
You can't bring
astounded.
anything down here. Everything's just gonna start talking.
Yeah, the wizard is like, "Whoa, you can talk," and I'm like, "Dude,
Keep up.
yeah, exactly." It's like, do not regress to a Zeb state.
You know what's happening.
Yeah,
Just be glad they didn't talk during that trick.
I know.
Or
I
maybe it
thought of
would've
that
been cooler.
too. I guess so. It probably wouldn't matter. But at this point, Eureka's like, "Can I eat one of them?" And everyone reacts the way you'd expect.
Dorothy is like, "Eureka, that would be terrible to watch you do." And one of the pigs is like, "Cats is cruel."
Yeah. And like everyone's horrified. The wizard is like, "No matter what, you can't eat my pigs. They are the only thing I have that can prove that I'm a wizard." And that's basically that with Eureka. Dorothy's like,
Yeah.
"Where'd those pigs come from?"
She's like, "How'd they get to be so small?"
Well, wouldn't you know?
He bought them from this guy in LA.
Yeah, LA.
LA.
But the pigs are from the
LA.
island. The pigs are from the island of Teeny Weeny.
Teeny Weent, unfortunately.
Oh my. I had a
Worse.
different edition. Teeny Weent.
T Weens.
Yeah. It's a small island.
Have we been there?
No. No. And I fear we never will go there.
Yeah.
We're
but
too big.
everything-
Oh no.
No, we'll be
No.
right back after this message. But yeah, everything on that island is small because it's a small island.
Yep.
And Eureka's like, "Look, I need something to eat.
She's
You-
losing it.
You may as well plant me and raise cats up. I'm not fucking around." Like,
Yeah. She's asking for a grasshopper even.
Yeah.
But the
Oh my god, it's like fucking Belina.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
literally. Yeah, that emerald grasshopper.
She's like, oh, come here, you fucking grasshopper.
Like she would literally eat a
Yeah.
glass
Yeah.
grasshopper. That was hard to say.
glass
Glass grasshopper,
You can't
glass
even say
grasshopper.
sawhorse. So
Seesaw.
anyway, Eureka or the wizard has a really good idea. He's like, "Hey, like there's all these creeks around here. Like there could be fish. Like, do you like fish?" And Eureka's like, "Well, yeah, I like fish. Are you
It
fucking
is a
kidding
good
me?"
She's like, "Give me
I
some
agree.
fucking tuna, you
Yeah.
stupid bitch."
I
It's
agree
kind of-
with you that it's a good idea. It is so baseless. It is.
Yeah,
baseless.
he's like, "Oh well, the vegetables are down here and they're cold, and the fish are cold too.
And
So
fish
why
aren't
not?"
animals.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't talk.
Yeah, and so
Fish are animals.
I think
They are.
it's just a way to get like a moral, I guess, plateau to get on to get Eureka some food. Elfring Baum has created a problem where that cat needs a specific food, and also all the animals talk.
That's true.
And this
If
is
she
the only way
ate-
out.
If she ate one of those pigs, it would be horrible.
This is exactly like, and
that
the
would be
magic
really
bell
sad.
didn't work on wood.
Yeah,
Okay, like it's
exactly.
the exact same thing.
But yeah, I mean,
But he
he's
was
like,
right.
"I'll catch a fish for you." He bends a pen. He pulls a piece of string out of his pocket. He puts a red flower blossom on the pen.
Is
So
this
that
this is the wizard?
yeah,
Yeah.
So that the
See?
bright color of the flower.
He's an
will, like,
outdoorsman. Yeah.
lure the fish to the hook. Okay, all right, okay, all
He's
right.
a provider.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm here for the providers.
All right.
You know what the Tin Woodman did?
Provide.
Yeah. Well, he broke 40 necks to save Dorothy.
That's what the scarecrow did.
true. Oh yeah, the scarecrow broke
That's true.
the Tin Woodman chopped
Yeah,
him,
he chopped him.
which is honestly, those are both just disgusting things.
But the wizard caught one fish at least, but he gave it to, or he like it basically like got on the bank, and before they could even like really look at it beyond being like, "Oh, what a pretty fish,"
like,
Eureka
it's-
had it in her claws and ate it. The whole thing.
So fast.
No bones, no
Dorothy
crumbs.
is like, "God, Eureka,
She
did you
ate
eat
and
the
really
bones?"
left no crumbs.
Yeah, literally. But Eureka's like, "I don't think that fish actually had any bones because I didn't feel any like scratches in my throat." And like all the piglets are just huddled together watching Eureka, and one of them is like, "Cats is horrible creatures. They're disgusting vermin."
So this was the beginning of giving cats a bad name.
Yeah,
he started it.
Interesting.
But I mean, Eureka has acted pretty bad. She saw them talking and said, "Can I eat them?"
I mean, honestly, if Hugo was my cat, Hugo, if he was in the fairy country, he would be the worst person ever, honestly.
Oh my God.
I would believe it. I love him to pieces, but I love him because he doesn't speak to me.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can't talk to you.
When he's
Well, that's
mad,
the
he
thing.
doesn't tell me the things that
They
he
wouldn't.
thinks.
They wouldn't have anything
And that's what
interesting
keeps our
to say.
relationship going.
Yeah, exactly. if our
Stupid.
animals had the ability to speak, I wouldn't like what they had.
I would
to
be
say.
embarrassed, and I would send them.
The only thing-
home.
if-
I would send them
but
somewhere else.
if your animals could talk, what you would say is, "Hi, here's what you're doing that I don't like. And what do you want? Treat? I'll give you treat." And then they'd say, "Oh, what a great compromise. Thank you."
Follow
That's
us
it.
at Oz Hour Podcast on TikTok. We're gonna make videos of our pets talking.
Oh yeah. But anyway, the fish gets eaten and the pigs hate it. But Dorothy promises that she's not going to let them get eaten by Eureka. And she pulls out 2 little crackers from her suitcase to feed the pigs. And they love the crackers.
They're like,
oh, they love Dorothy. That's cute.
That's what they're like.
Oh my God. But they do that, more or less. And by that time, the wizard, he put them all back in his pocket and they all cuddled together and fell asleep. But then they agreed that they should just go back to the house of the sorcerer, Gwig, because the old prince had said that they could stay there. That the wizard would be the new sorcerer and the new princess doesn't even know what the fuck is going on. So they're like, okay, we're just going to go and stay there. So they walk back to town.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they get back to the sorcerer's palace and they notice doorways that are up on the ceiling since people don't need stairs here.
Yeah.
They
Annoying.
walk up to the doors, which is like walking up a hill. They're almost out of breath when they get up to the top. So all this time they've been walking in the air, it's like there's actually like a ground beneath them and they're working to walk. They're not just flying, like they're
That makes
they're
sense.
marching.
I mean,
It's weird.
you
I
have to,
wonder
like,
if it's
lift
harder
yourself.
to do. I wonder if it's more exhausting to do in general.
Like if it was like climb stairs up to that level or climb invisible stairs up to that level.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the same. But guess what? It's not science.
It's not science.
But they all do get tired. But they find basically up there that there's a bunch of like living chambers. There's no beds, but there are big glass tables, glass chairs, glass benches, etc. And at that point, they're like, oh, these people don't sleep because there's no beds, but also there's no night.
Yeah, the suns haven't changed since they
Yeah.
got there hours
Also, would
ago.
someone clean this glass?
Well, there's really nothing making it
must
dirty.
be like self-cleaning.
I mean, it is growing, I guess.
Vegetable people don't have dirty feet.
Well, I guess they just stand on glass. It's not like they're stepping.
Yeah,
in
they've
dirt.
never. Well, okay, they go in the
But maybe when
garden.
they're in the garden,
But maybe they
yeah.
rinse off. Oh, no, there's
They
water
probably
spots on
have
the
to like
glass.
rinse off and like scrub themselves with a brush like we do with
Like
our
a potato.
vegetables.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, but this also made me real because they're like, "Oh, the suns are always shining," and I'm like, I don't know if I said this last episode. Please forgive me if I did, but these are all just greenhouses. Like,
Yes,
it's
yes.
all just a big greenhouse, and that's all it is.
God, so it must be baking in there.
It must be hot, unless okay, well, no, that must. I was gonna say unless the 6 suns don't put off the same amount as like radioactive,
Yeah, if it's
radiation.
just light and not necessarily heat.
Yeah.
Because
It's
actually,
so far in the earth
Yeah.
that maybe the sun wouldn't penetrate like how it does when you're on the crust.
how
Yeah.
On the
far?
crust.
How far
Ugh.
from magma are we?
like from like
them. Like how far from
Oh.
magma is Mangaboo?
it. I wonder maybe they have thermal heat from underneath because otherwise it would be completely cold in there.
Yeah, because it's just in a hole in the
Yeah.
ground. Okay, well
Okay,
that's
well.
interesting.
Tweet at
There's
us.
a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's oh my god.
But the wizard, he's like nighttime, daytime. Look, I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go to sleep on one of these glass benches. And Dorothy's like, yeah, same. So Zeb goes downstairs. He unhitches Jim, and Jim and Eureka cuddle up on the ground and go to sleep. And Zeb goes back upstairs and he sleeps on one of the glass benches.
Yeah. And he finds it quite comfortable. And that is where we end chapter 5. Dorothy picks the princess. And Blake, what would you call that?
Oh, I wasn't sure what you were gonna say. Let them eat pig. It's a play on a Marie Antoinette thing. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You ruined it.
I've received your feedback and I'm working on it.
Just let it be.
Let who eat pig? Chapter 6. The Mangaboos prove dangerous.
The wizard wakes up and the suns are still out, but he feels well rested. So it's probably been like a while. It's probably been like 8 hours, 9 hours.
Yeah, good little nap. I mean, he looks over and Zeb is also like waking up, and so he goes up to him and he's like, "Hey, like in my balloon, like I don't need the balloon anymore. Like obviously it's no use to us down here, but could you go grab my satchel? There's 2 lanterns and a can of kerosene. Like, can you help me out?" And Zeb is like, "Yeah, of course. I'm
You know why
a kid."
you know why he sends Zeb?
Why?
Because the wizard is very old. Not sexy.
Yes, that's why he barely made it up to the sleeping chambers that night.
Well, I'll help him. I'm sorry. I don't think I actually would be interested in the wizard, but I like playing the part.
Yeah,
need
it's
to,
fun
like-
to think that you could be.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's different.
I'm just picturing Jack Nicholson now, so I've been feeling it.
That also makes it
Okay,
different.
that does change it.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I'm picturing
But like
Jack
young
Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson, you know.
The
But
Shining.
he's still crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, not current Jack Nicholson. Who would
yeah,
think?
maybe not 90-year-old Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Although
I'm sure
that's
he's being-
literally what you have
That's what
going.
it is.
that's probably what I will be jumping into.
Yeah,
I'll be
that's
looking
what
at
awaits.
I'll be looking at his online page as the shining Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
But when I meet him, he'll be the 90-year-old Jack
Yeah,
Nicholson.
he'll be at a Mets game,
And the
he's
question
90 years
is-
old.
Will I still fuck him?
Yeah, because you don't know what he's gonna say when he sees you, and
Exactly.
that determines a lot.
Okay, all right.
So Zeb does. He goes down to the balloon. He gets the stuff. He comes back. The satchel, the 2 lanterns, the kerosene. He comes back. Dorothy's awake as well. So they're like, cool, let's take counsel. Let's try to make a plan of what to do next.
They have
Nobody
no
has
ideas.
any ideas.
No ideas. Nothing. They're just like, okay, well, that's
Blink.
it. And Dorothy's like, I don't like these vegetable people.
Yeah,
they're
Dorothy-
cold and flabby like
They're
cabbage.
AI.
They
Yeah.
are, yeah, and they make them uncomfortable. Like all of them are like too moderate, I
Yeah.
guess.
The wizard says it's because they don't have any warm blood in them. And Zeb says, like we mentioned earlier, they also don't have hearts, so they can't love anyone, not even
Not even
themselves.
themselves.
To which I say, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
So Dorothy's like, yeah, the princess is pretty and all, but I don't really like her either. Like, I would literally rather be anywhere else than this place. And the wizard's like, yeah, but is there any other place?
But then they hear Jim screaming outside.
No, Jim, stop.
I know, he's always
screaming.
Well, he's like, guys, you have to get down here. Please get down here.
I forgot about Jim.
Yeah.
He's giving Seesaw Hoss.
Oh, Seesaw Hoss. You cannot say that word.
Sawhorse. He's giving Sawhorse vibes.
Okay, yeah. But he is. I agree with that, honestly.
It's just forgettable.
Jim is screaming, and they all go downstairs. And what they find downstairs is the princess. And she's like, hey, I talked to my advisors, and we all decided that all these meat people don't belong down here in the land of the Mangaboos.
And let's not forget that just like always, the entire town is there, like surrounding them as well.
Everyone. They're all
so
filled
weird.
in.
I
And-
hate them.
Yeah. And Dorothy's like, hey, how can we leave? Like, we don't belong here. You're
She's
right.
like, yeah, if you don't want us here, we don't want to be here. Where do you want us to
been
go?
saying we fucking fell
The first
Yeah.
to
thing
the crack of the earth and we got here somehow, and then you decided to send us to court and try to destroy us.
The first thing that the wizard said when he landed was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to get here. How do I get out? And then
That's
the prince
all that everyone's been trying
Yeah.
to do since
Yeah.
day
the prince was like, well,
one.
I want to hire you to be my new sorcerer, so you're not allowed to leave, is what happened.
But the princess has a great idea. She's going to destroy all of them.
Yeah, she's like, you
And
don't
then
have
they
to worry
won't be in the
about
land of the Mangaboos anymore. So we're just really back to where we
Wait.
started.
back where it started. The Mangaboos are violent, horrible
What
creatures.
the fuck?
Um,
Is there
yeah.
gonna be like other countries near? Is there like a desert they can pass? Like,
Girl.
is there somewhere they can go that's not here?
It's
What I'll tell
crazy.
you right now is the only deserts I've experienced in fairy countries are not safe places
That's
to be.
true.
No.
That's true. We
And-
need Ozma. What's happening?
Yeah, why isn't Ozma looking in her mirror?
Yeah,
Is it not Saturday?
Come on.
Yeah, why Dorothy's like, hey, yo.
Help.
But the wizard's like, so how are you going to destroy us? And the answer's pretty terrible.
No.
She says that the princess tells them that the meat people will be thrown to the twining vines, which will wrap around them until they're crushed.
Yeah, and devour them. And then the vines will grow even bigger.
Yeah.
That's
anim-
giving Harry Potter once again.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
you're
right.
right. Yeah, very devil's snare.
Yeah.
Then all the animals, they're just going to send into the black pit.
Which, in order for them to be thrown into the black pit, they have to be driven up a mountain.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to drive them
so road
across the
trip.
plains. Yeah, to the mountain. Yeah, good for them, honestly. And the wizard doesn't really like that.
Yeah. And he's like, wait, but hey, don't you need a sorcerer?
Yeah, like,
Your
don't destroy
sorcerers aren't
me.
ripe enough to pick yet.
He's willing
And
to sacrifice.
She's like, well, one of the sorcerers is going to be ready to pick in a couple of days.
We don't want two
but-
sorcerers.
Yeah, but she's like, we'll just kill you after we pick the new one in a couple of days. So show me your sorcery and I'll decide if you'll perish with the others or not.
Okay, well, I guess El Frank Baum decided to create everyone equal in this book. She's about as evil as any man could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He decided
I know.
we don't need strong women. We don't need kind women. We need women who are just like men.
Yeah. And that's what it's giving.
And you know what, though? The wizard gives wizard because he's like, okay. And he does his whole little pig routine again.
He does the exact
The princess
same
hasn't
trick.
seen it. So she is like visibly astonished. But then she says, wow, I've heard about that, but it really doesn't do anything of value. What
Like,
do you have?
What does that do for me?
Yeah, like what else?
So the wizard assembles his knife sword.
Stupid.
This is pathetic. This is your man. This man assembles his knife sword and he balances it on his nose and he's like, ta-da! Like,
To no effect.
to no effect.
Yeah.
That's not.
No one even acknowledges he did anything.
We're not at a circus.
No,
Yeah.
this is not the circus.
This is different than the circus. This is your life.
Well, his next option to try and impress them is really not very circusy.
Oh God.
He sees the lantern and the kerosene, and he says, okay, I'm going to improve my magic. I'm going to create two suns, like S-U-N-S, that have never been seen before, and I'm going to exhibit a destroyer more terrible than your clinging vines. So, here's the setup, right? He's standing.
Mm-hmm.
He has Dorothy on one side of him, Zeb on the left. He puts a little lantern on both of their heads, and he lights them both.
He says to them,
Yeah.
do not laugh at what I'm doing because we all know it's stupid, but you will spoil the trick.
Yeah.
Do not laugh.
He is a showman. He's like, you will ruin it.
He's preparing.
So he lights the lanterns, and once they're lit, everyone already thinks this is insane because, like the princess and everything, because they've never seen light that didn't come from their 6 suns. They don't have fire, they don't have electricity, nothing glows. The only light they've ever seen is
they're
from the
pretty
suns.
impressed.
This
So
guy just
already they're like, holy shit.
created 2 suns like he said he would.
balancing on 2
Yeah.
heads. The other thing he said was that he would create a destroying force. So next he pours a big puddle of kerosene oil on the floor and he lights it ablaze. So it's this little lake of fire in the middle of the room.
Hannah, are you sitting down?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, good. Because this is going to be heavy. The wizard says that the princess must call all of her advisors and they have to step into the circle of light, which again, these people have never seen light that wasn't from the sun. So they don't know what fire is.
They don't know it's hot.
All they know is, oh, it's a circle of light. And he says,
They're-
you get them in the circle of light, and if they start to wither,
So we are making stir fry.
oh yeah, oh just wait,
So that's been on the menu.
Yeah.
because he's like, okay, if they start to wither, it means that they were wrong when they advised you. So the advisors are like, I don't really want to try that, but the princess is like, well, no, he said that's the magic that you'll wither if you were wrong. So step into the light, and one by one, in a line, They walk into the flames and are consumed and burnt until the entire chamber smells like a baked potato.
This is some Rad Shack and Benny type shit. And
Yeah.
Veggie Tales.
Oh my God.
Lord Almighty.
They are all dead and have to be planted right away.
So
Yeah.
now what does the princess say?
Oh, she
Well-
said that's the most metal thing she's ever
Yeah.
seen.
And the room smells like baked potatoes, so there's your stir fry. By
Yeah.
the way.
Okay, just add a
Um,
little salt and cheese
but-
and I'll be good.
Yeah, the
Stir fry,
princess, like what I said, that's metal. This is obviously the greatest sorcerer in existence. And I was advised wrongly. So you and your friends don't need to be thrown into the clinging vines.
Yeah, the people. don't need to be.
However, your animals will still be driven to the black pit because we cannot
They-
even with
They
these
hate
things.
them.
They hate them.
the animals.
They
They've never
don't
seen
want
an
them.
animal before. So
They're
like
disgusted
there's
by them.
that. They hate them.
Well, if we're able to leave, then we can just leave with our animals.
They're not even letting them leave though. They're just saying you guys are staying here now.
Yeah, you work for us. And for the next few days until we pluck a new sorcerer.
Yeah. And then maybe the wizard will still be the best sorcerer. So who
And
knows?
then they'll keep them around. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
but-
I mean, he'll just have to kill another sorcerer.
Either,
He's
yeah,
done it
right.
before.
He's gonna let me build my knife.
Like the wizard, he's so happy that he saved himself and the two children. He doesn't argue.
Yeah, he's like, fine, that's fine for now.
No.
Like it's good.
Get out of my face.
Yes, and so the animals aren't happy, but once the princess is gone, Dorothy's like, hey, like we're gonna save you guys. Like don't worry, like we're gonna figure it out. Just like we're safe now, and that's the first, the first thing you put on your mask before you put on your neighbor's mask.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But a few days go by, like 2-3 days go by. And we're determining days by like
Sleeps.
when the meat people sleep because the sun never
The
goes
sun's
down.
not- yeah, I just don't question anymore.
But like 3 days go by, they're not bothered by the mangaboos at all. Like
No.
they have the palace, they can go to the public gardens and eat all they want. And as what usually happens in these books, Dorothy's eating exclusively fruit, which I have to ask again, where are these people shitting? Where
Also-
are they shitting? Are they
Yeah.
shitting on a glass floor? Are they shitting in the corner of the like cemetery birth center?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where
That's-
are they shitting?
It's a really good question
Where are these
because
animals shitting?
this building, especially the animals, like this build or this.
Well, do
City.
vegetables poop?
No, they don't eat. They don't nothing.
They don't even eat.
They don't even have. They don't even have
They
beds.
don't breathe.
Yeah.
So so you're asking where the rest of the people?
Where
Yeah.
are Dorothy, Zeb,
the meat
Jim,
people.
Eureka, the 9 piglets, and the wizard shitting?
They
Where
have
did they
to
shit?
go into the garden where they can dig a hole.
Oh my god. It just must be so gross for the mangaboos because
The
they don't know
mangaboos
what
don't
that is.
like that. The mangaboos can't
That's
like
why
that.
they don't want them there.
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
you guys are
Probably in large
nasty.
They've
part.
really
And then
been
if we
trying
bury
to
you-
get rid of
And then if we
them.
bury you, what,
You're
you're
gonna
grow
rot.
mushrooms and shit instead
Yeah.
of
You're
You're gonna
glass?
rot everything and be gross.
Also, they're like breathing all over everything. Like they've never seen a
Yeah.
fogged up window before.
Oh my! See,
Oh.
okay, they didn't need to clean these things before until the meat people got
Yeah,
here.
Yes.
I'm team
Now-
mangaboo.
Yeah, now they're like they don't have
Honestly,
paper towels.
they
don't
have so many more things they have to do now because of it. It's like they have
Yeah.
their system, they have their way that they do things.
This is a pretty
And it's-
big deal for them.
Yeah, the meat people are coming in, fogging up their shit, pooping on their shit.
Yeah.
Fogging up your
Eating.
shit, pooping on your shit.
Yeah, they must hate it, and they do hate it. But either way, they are eating all over the place and they're shitting all over the place.
Yeah. And actually, like one day they're walking over to the garden to eat and shit, and they go up and because they can walk through the air, they go up and over the clinging vines, and they look down at them, and they're like they're huge vines.
It's like a nest of snakes.
Yeah, just like
they're like all
writhing
like
all over each other,
pulling each other together.
Like rocks are falling down, and the rocks just like get like
Yeah, they
crush.
crush everything that comes in their path. So they're like, oh, that's instant.
Wow,
death.
we evaded that. We don't
Yeah.
have to die that way. That's fun.
Yeah. So then one day, the wizard, as he does, takes a little nap. And when he does that, he lets the piglets out of his pocket to play. And they like run around and snort. And his door was left open this day. And they all run out or like downstairs. They're running through the air. They're like playing with Eureka. Like they're all chasing each other. Eureka
That's
like
so
bats
cute.
one over. And Jim is like, hey, let them alone.
Yeah, like Jim is like laying
They're a
watching
family.
the babies play.
They're a
Yeah.
family.
It's so adorable. It's,
It's
so
giving
cute.
Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
But then suddenly,
then-
suddenly Jim. Now it's going to be that episode of Jersey Shore where some asshole punched Snooky, because then Jim looks up and they're surrounded by mangaboos, and all of the mangaboos are armed.
They're trying to get
They
rid
have
of them.
huge thorns.
They're holding
trying
these
to
big sticks with thorns, and they're like they're surrounded.
Not the pig.
because they know, they're like, we don't sleep. We know that these people keep going to sleep during these hours.
Yeah.
Let's attack.
No.
So
they are prodding them and pushing them. Jim tries to like resist, but he just keep being like the thorns are huge.
They're
like they hurt.
stabbing them.
Yeah, they're just stabbing them, and so they're all running them out of the house and down the road. The piglets are scampering at Jim's feet, but he's not crushing them.
yeah, Jim's like
Thank
trying
God.
not to crush pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eureka is like protecting the pigs, like
Oh, she wanted to eat them earlier,
I
but now
know.
she
They're
loves
babies.
them.
But she is hissing. She is pissed, and they just keep getting prodded. And after like a while, they like prod them all the way across the like sweeping fields outside of
Are
town
they trying to get him in the black hole?
to the mountains.
They're trying to take them to
They
the
go
pit.
right toward the distant mountain.
Jim is like, what the hell's going on? Eureka's
No.
like, they are taking us to the black pit, just like they threatened to do. And she was like, Jim, if I was as big and strong as a horse and I had like iron on my hooves, Jim, I would probably do something.
Yeah. Well, and Jim is like, oh well, what would you do?
Yeah.
Honestly, just fucking tell him.
Yeah,
He starts kicking, stomping,
the hell out of
crushing.
them.
He's crushing mangaboos.
Good.
Dozens at a time are just
Good.
being thrown into each other.
He
It's
has
insane.
to protect them.
Yes, they're going flying. They are wrecking them. And
Eureka.
yeah, Eureka's going off too.
Yeah,
she's like, yeah, she's scratching, she's stabbing, she's biting. Like the mangaboos are as afraid of her as they are of Jim.
Yeah,
Like,
they
Oh
see
my
those two things as
God.
equal.
yeah, she
I
is
love
she is
that.
ruining faces.
Go on.
With Jim and Eureka, they smash, they destroy
They're not dying.
several mangaboos. But ultimately,
Unfortunately.
there are just way too many
Stop.
mangaboos. They
There's
can't.
hordes,
Like for one
legions.
What do you
kitten and
mean
one
they
horse,
can't?
They get too
can't
tired,
fight
they're exhausted.
So
anymore.
what happens?
The mangaboos
So?
keep marching them to their doom.
Yeah.
And what happens after
The
that?
chapter ends.
Yeah. And that is the end of chapter 6. The mangaboos prove dangerous. And Blake, what would you call that?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Smashing Pumpkins.
That's good.
Chapter 7. Into the black pit. And out again.
I just wanted to scream. I don't know.
that was good.
It
That
was
was a
right.
good scream. We'll save that for later episodes.
I'm a scream
too.
queen.
So they get to the mountain, which is just like a towering chunk of green glass.
I'm imagining it being like a Heineken bottle.
I was
like,
just about to say
like
What?
Heineken,
Heineken?
bottle.
Oh, Heineken. Ew.
Yeah. Just like a dark, like I guess like a forest blue-green thing.
So halfway up the mountain is this dark, dark cave where the light from the multicolored suns like doesn't reach. Like it's just this hole that's
It's a cave,
pitch black darkness.
but it's pitch black, and they're all freaked out.
My stomach
And-
hurts.
Yeah, they
This is
hate
like the
it.
most that my stomach has hurt for some because it
is
just
that because of the margaritas and the sour beers?
no. It's not even that I care for these people so much. I mean, like obviously I don't want anything to happen to them. But like, I just don't
piglets.
know who these guys are.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Yeah.
these fucking manglodons
There's-
are. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Megalodons.
There's bad things happening. Like these are
Exactly.
horrible things to happen.
I'm just like, I don't like how they waited for those people. Like, they just seem vicious.
yeah, they do. They're
Totally.
They're cold and calculating.
Exactly.
honestly,
and I
it's
don't think any, I
terrifying.
mean, I do feel like our last villain that we did deal with, yeah, he was smart and he tricked people,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't so much of like, we're waiting for them to fall asleep so we can
Yeah.
corner you and
He
get
would
you
have
into
gotten
a
there
black
though. He
pit.
would have done that though.
Yeah, I mean, he was
He
going to
was,
kill them to
so
he was
start.
going to
Did-
kill all of them right up front, except for the wizard.
The-
At least she let the kids stay.
I guess
Yeah.
that's true, but it just didn't get to that point. Like the cornering
Yeah.
is scary.
It is-
Me.
it's
It would have
disturbing.
gotten to
It's
that point
freaky.
because these mangaboos, they're heartless, terrible, disgusting
yeah.
creatures, and they drive the animals into the cave.
Talk about getting
And-
cornered.
And they start to like slowly, like this
Well,
100 mangaboos.
They
are
push the
just, like,
buggy in behind them.
Yeah, they also threw the buggy in.
They carried the buggy all the
dies
way.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
And the buggy
Nothing
dies
but the
too.
people
We
left.
need some powder of life.
And then
He can be a little gumba.
oh my god. But then just like Jesus, they start to seal them in with stones.
They start to pile these glass stones in front of. They literally have to sit there and watch these creepy blank faces entomb them.
and they hate it.
I'm
And
freaked
Eureka
out. I'm
hates it.
freaked
Yeah.
out.
Eureka makes a break
animals-
for it.
Yeah, the animals are like, we're fucked. And the piglets are like, if the wizard were here, he would protect us. And Eureka's like, guys, sit tight, be brave, chin up. I will be right back.
Oh my
And she
God.
launches out over the pile of rocks that they're building, and she starts to run through the air.
Which, why didn't they do that before? The whole time they were being driven to the
Anyone
mountain, I'm
could
like,
have turned
just
around.
jump up in the air.
Yeah.
Like, just
That's
start
so-
walking about.
that's
You can,
so
you can
true.
literally fly.
Yeah,
great-
I forgot
like
that
the-
they were able to do
The
that.
piglets and Eureka should have done it a long time ago because Eureka alone is light enough to where she can like climb high, 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet. Whereas the people, it's like they're running upstairs
It's
to
a
do
little
that.
bit
you
Yeah,
more.
know?
they're heavier.
So,
Yeah.
like,
So Eureka is hundreds of feet above where the mangaboos can go because the mangaboos start chasing her, but they just can't run that high
They
because
can't keep
they're
up.
heavier. Yeah. So she's ahead of them, she's above them, she's away from them, and she basically escapes. And she gets to the palace and she goes to the window to Dorothy's chamber
Yeah.
and wakes her up.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Eureka tells Dorothy what's going on. Dorothy wakes up Zeb and the wizard. The wizard takes the satchel. Zeb takes the,
Yeah,
the
let's go, let's go, let's
lanterns.
go. Oh,
and
come on.
Dorothy is like clutching
Yeah.
Eureka, whose heart is just like racing.
Yeah.
She's like trying to calm her while she's running them, and they run to the mountain. Or they run
Okay.
toward the
Yeah,
mountain.
they're going. They're going.
Yeah, so they're already on it.
But
and the
the-
vegetable people who are like in the city still don't stop them, but they follow them.
So that they can't turn
Yeah,
around.
they run past them thinking they're going to stop them and they don't, and then they start following them so that they can't turn back. So every step they take, they're done. They
They're
can't go
sealing
back.
the deal.
It's so scary, honestly.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Once they make it back to the black pit, the princess and a mob of mangaboos, they're still stacking the glass rocks in front of the entrance to the pit. And the wizard is like, stop. And he starts yanking down this wall of stones that they're building.
They don't react to him though.
They don't. They let him make a big enough, like good sized
They just
hole.
stand and wait.
And then they lunge at him with their swords.
Yeah.
And Dorothy is like, oh, fuck. And she jumps in.
They're
but Zeb and the
robotic.
wizard aren't quick enough. And Zeb and the wizard both get stabbed by the thorns. Not like
not
in a
like
bad
in
way.
a death.
Yeah.
But in
Like-
a like I'm in
in a,
like
in
hurt.
a
That
ow
Yeah,
way.
sucks.
And they have to run.
we shouldn't keep
to,
doing that.
To get
Yeah.
away from the thorns, they have to run into the cave.
Yeah, it's just so disturbing. Just imagine the mangaboos standing around waiting until the hole is big enough, and then prodding them inside.
For
Like,
anyone
it's
who
so
has
calculated.
read, for anyone who's read the Tommyknockers by Stephen King, I am getting that vibe
Yes,
super hard.
Yeah. But the wizard though, at this point, like they're once everyone's inside, they start kind of walling them up, and the wizard's like, okay, like, should we try and fight? But Dorothy and Zeb are just tired of all this. They're like, we're never gonna be able to like be okay with the mangaboos. Like, it would honestly be better
there's
to die
no
in
way
here.
out.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
literally,
But
the
yeah.
children, the two children choose death. And the wizard is like, okay, like, I'm with you, whatever you decide.
Yeah,
Which
but
is
I kind
death.
of get it.
They
because
decided on death.
There's no, but okay, but if they leave, if they try and fight, they're gonna die no matter what. They're not gonna beat the
They
mangaboos.
can't beat those
And
mangaboos.
and they'll be
Seems
sent to the
very-
garden to be like hugged to death by those vines. So
God.
it's like
well, that would be quicker than dying in a fucking
it
cave.
is, but they don't know it's in the cave. You know,
Yeah.
I guess
the
anything
wizard
can happen.
The wizard scoops up his little piggies. He puts them in his pocket. Zeb lights the lanterns.
yeah,
They
because
have
the light's fading at this point.
Yeah.
Like there's almost no light
They
left.
have no idea how big or small the cavern is. So Zeb decides to like have a look around. And he takes the lanterns and he goes deeper into the cave, and Dorothy and the wizard are following and investigating as well.
Yeah, and it's basically like. It's like a long cave, like it's deep, like a mine shaft kind of. Like it's almost like they're on a road. Like
Yeah.
it's a smooth, like it's all made of glass.
Yeah.
But like the like floor is smooth. So they're like, okay, this is going pretty far and it's slanting upward. So like maybe we should just try and see where it goes. Because the Mangaboos didn't have light. The Mangaboos had no light other than the sun's, so they would never be able to go farther.
The wizard basically kind of like decides that like the Mangaboos probably realized there was no light in here and they never actually investigated it.
But they have the lanterns, so
that makes me wonder, like, how many times have the Mangaboos used the Black Pit to exile people?
It made me wonder too, because I'm like, okay, now they're walling it up. Are they going to expect to take that wall down in 3 weeks and find
gone?
dead? Yeah, like dead people or dead whatever.
So
like what? Or just
like
gone.
what was their plan? And or they're just gone.
Yeah,
How do
they just
explain
feel like,
that?
oh, this is the way that we banish
This is
people.
what the
It's like
does.
we put them in here and then they disappear.
So-
Done.
the wizard's
They
like,
could be getting sent to fucking paradise.
exactly.
You're actually doing them a huge favor by putting them in the
Totally.
pit.
Nobody wants to be around the fucking Mangaboos.
Honestly.
The wizard's like, well, it seems like it keeps going. Let's see where it leads. The kids are like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So Zeb harnesses up Jim, and all the people and Eureka get into the buggy.
Okay.
And it's like a pretty peril-free climb. Like, Jim needs to take a lot of breaks because
It's pretty steep.
really steep. Like, they're
Yeah.
climbing, and he's pulling all of
the
it.
tunnel is narrow at some points. Like the wheels of the cart are like scraping the walls. Like it gets kind of
Yeah.
like scary in that way. And Jim is really tired, which is also scary.
It gets to the point, I don't know if it's been like hours. It must have been though.
Must have been.
To where they get to the point where they're like, we've been climbing for so long, we have to be higher than the 6 sons of Mangaboo.
Yeah, so
Like-
they've gone like up. It took
They're
the wizard
up.
2 hours in his balloon to fall from the suns.
Yeah.
And so they've been going up for probably at least as long. But all of a sudden, like they're like, okay, it's kind of starting to get light again. Like we can kind of see, so they extinguish their lanterns because they're like, okay, let's save the fuel. Like we can see it's gonna get lighter. And eventually they just keep walking and they can see there's a light at the end of their tunnel.
And it's a white light, which they're totally relieved by because they're so sick of these like moving colored lights. Like
Yeah.
it's just
They're
it's like makes their
tired.
eyes hurt. It gives them headaches.
Yeah, so they're already refreshed, and the ground is leveling out also. So like it's all everything's getting better.
Jim
There's
ends
a
up-
true light.
Jim ends up doing what I did when we were all in the Grand Canyon, which is like he's like, okay, final
Yeah.
stretch, and he just like goes for it. He's like, go,
Yeah, he's like
Powers
he exhausts
through.
himself, and
Yeah.
they get through, and at the end they emerge from a cave, and they are greeted by a new and beautiful land. And that's the end of chapter 7, which is titled Into the Black Pit and Out Again. And Blake?
I would okay, picture me as like a car salesman. So I slap the cave. This bad boy can trap so many children and senior citizens in it.
Yeah.
I don't like this game anymore.
Chapter 8, The Valley of Voices.
So they look out on this gorgeous valley. There's another mountain on the like other far side of it. There's these picturesque green hills, lovely lawns and gardens with pebble paths, and groves of beautiful trees.
Most importantly, it looks like a normal part of the world. Like it's
That's true.
beautiful.
It looks like
Like-
Kansas.
Yeah, well,
Is there a
except
sky?
there's a big valley. It's like the bottom of a really big cup. So it's like perfectly round, just like really deep, and it's beautiful. There's streams running through, there's banks of flowers, orchards with fruit trees that they don't really recognize the fruit. And there's all these little houses. But there's not like villages clumped together. It's like independent little houses, and then there's all these paths.
Like everyone owns a shit ton of land.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone just sits there for a minute and has to just enjoy themselves.
They notice 2 things right off the bat.
Yes.
Everything is perfectly illuminated, but there's no sun in the sky. So actually, like going off your question, does that mean the sky is black?
The
but they
sky
can
is
see
pale blue.
everything? Oh, it's pale blue. It
Yes.
said that. Okay.
The sky is blue and there's light, but yeah, there's no moon, there's no sun. It's very much like the chambers of the Gnome King where there's a light coming from nowhere in particular.
Yeah, some witch
but
light.
it's bright. Yeah.
The second thing they notice is that there is not a single moving object anywhere. They can see the entire valley from where they're
Yeah,
standing.
because they're kind of
they
high
don't
up.
see any animals, any people, nothing.
Yeah. And they're like, well, that's strange, but this is still beautiful and amazing. So they start to go down, but they came out like, so this side of the mountain isn't glass anymore. It's like granite basically, but they have to kind of climb down to get to the bottom.
Well, they decide that Jim's going to carry them all down in the buggy, which is like super treacherous and takes him a long time. And it's hard for him and is super unsafe for everyone else. I don't understand why they didn't just scale down it.
Yeah, or just ditch the buggy.
Yeah.
They don't know how long they're going to walk for though, you know?
Well, it's fair. They'd be better off than one of them doing all the walking for them, though, I feel.
I mean, that's what horses are bred for, but I don't know.
But I guess if it's just like 3 kind of small people and like Eureka, they can all
That's true,
fit on the
it's
back
not
of a
big.
horse.
And who knows what the gravity is down here?
But Jim gets them down the side of the mountain, and the nearest cottage is still like a pretty good distance away. But they're just so happy to be in this place and away from the mangaboos. And the wizard is me like anytime we travel to a new city, because he's like, wow, I've never seen a prettier place, we should move here, like, let's live here.
He's like, if we ended up staying here, well. But he lets the pigs out of his pocket. Eureka's like playing. They're all like, you know, just like not playing, but just running around and being like
best
grass.
friends
Like,
now.
yeah.
Everyone's in really high spirits.
Yeah, I mean, they
Eureka-
just went through like a traumatic
They-
experience.
That was
Yeah.
really
Oh, the
scary.
poor
That's
They
like,
trauma
piggies.
bonded.
I think
Yeah.
what happened in that last scene is like the creepiest, scariest thing that's ever happened.
That
in
was
an
pretty,
Aussie.
Yeah.
like, it actually genuinely, and I'm not even saying it was because of the margarita, because I actually really enjoyed the margarita. I don't think it would make my stomach hurt, but my stomach hurt.
No, the stress
And I think it was
there.
because of the megalodons,
Yeah, the mangaboos.
the
Yeah.
mangadoos.
Oh my god. So Eureka does notice though that like they're unable to walk in the air in this place, and they think maybe like we're a lot closer to the surface of the earth, because things look more or less normal. It doesn't look like glass buildings and vegetable people.
But Dorothy's like, where the hell are all the people? And the wizard's like, I don't know, man. But then they hear something. The call of a bird. Just a little chirp. And they look around. No bird.
They can't find the bird.
That's it.
And they see this, they're walking along, they see this fruit that's growing. It grows like really near to the ground. It's kind of like how the mangaboos grow, honestly. There's a fruit in the middle, and then the leaves kind of like span down around it. Like it's just on a bed of leaves, basically.
It's like a melon.
It looks like
like
a
a melon
peach.
in
It's
Stardew
smaller than
Valley.
it's smaller than a melon.
Yes.
And like a melon in Stardew Valley. Yes.
Actually, given the color particularly, it is just like a melon in Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
It is a big, round, pinkish fruit, and it smells delicious. And it's beautiful. It looks beautiful.
It looks
It's
like a
appetizing
peach.
to
It smells
look
like a
at.
peach. That's why we had peach margaritas tonight.
Indeed. We'll get there.
But Dorothy's like, what do you think that is? And the piglets, you know, they're small, they're close to the ground.
They don't care what
they
it is.
smell it, they immediately dig in. They gobble it up greedily. None of the humans were like, oh, wait, that might be poison. Like, the pigs are just
There's not enough
on
time.
it.
Oh no!
9 little
I hope
piglets.
It's not poison.
And Zeb
Wow.
is like, whatever that was, it must have been good because the pigs just
They
destroyed
ate it right up.
And
But Dorothy looks around. There's no piglets anywhere to be seen.
yeah, the piglets have like, the wizard's like, did they run away?
What?
And he starts going, here, piggy, piggy, piggy.
What?
Dorothy? Yeah.
They hear the pigs snorting and jumping around right below the wizard, like at his feet.
Yeah. And the wizard's like, where are you guys? And they're like, we're right here. Can't you see us?
Okay,
'Cause
so
we
here's
can
my
see you.
So here's my question: they can see him. They think he can see them. Can they see each other?
I don't think they can see each other. And that'll come up later, but I'll explain why
Really?
later.
Okay. The wizard puts his hand down. He like kneels down, puts his hand down on the ground. One of the pigs jumps and climbs into his hand. He's not able to see it.
Yeah.
He feels it there. He feels
feels
its
it?
nose. He
Yeah.
cannot see it.
The wizard is like, I don't know what's going on here.
Can the pig see it?
The pigs can't. Well, okay.
The pigs can see him.
They can see him.
Okay,
But they
okay.
can't see each other. We don't.
Eureka
I don't think.
is like, I bet it's because they ate that peach.
Yeah, because they're invisible. The wizard's like, they're invisible.
For sure.
What the hell's
invisible.
going on?
Yeah.
And Eureka's like, it's the peach they ate. And Dorothy's like, well, it wasn't a peach, but I also hope it wasn't poison. And the pigs are like, we don't care if that was poison. That was
They're like,
so
it was
fucking
great.
good.
If we see another one,
Yeah, we're all gonna eat it. And the wizard is like, okay, but everybody else, do not eat those, because if we turn invisible, we're gonna lose each other, and that's gonna be horrifying.
That will be.
And then he puts all the little pigs back in his pocket, so they're safe, and they all fall asleep again.
Oh, and they're just asleep and invisible.
Yeah, they don't even.
like, they're
it's
like,
just a big.
I have the whole pocket to myself.
Oh yeah, they can't even see each
They have
other.
no clue.
but they keep walking. They finally make it to the cottage, and the place looks really well tended. So
Yeah,
they're like,
it's
okay,
cute.
it's not
There's a little
abandoned.
porch. There's like vines on the porch, but in a like they're being manicured
Yeah.
way.
And they look inside and they see the dining room of the house, and like the plates have fresh piping hot food on them, and the silverware is like being like jostled and like moved
There's
around.
meats, there's breads, there's fruits, and in the air dancing around are the forks and knives. So they're just kind of swimming about. And Dorothy, of course, Dorothy of everyone is like, how funny. Like, why does she think everything is so funny? She doesn't laugh, but like, why does she think everything is so funny? Because to me, that sounds kind of scary.
Yeah.
And-
she may as well have said abracadabra,
Yeah.
because then all of a sudden, like, childish laughing is heard in the room, and one of the chairs like darts away from the table.
All the forks and knives fall onto the plates, and all of a sudden, Dorothy is scared and she wants to run away.
Dorothy says, "Fuck that shit," and she tries to run away.
Yeah. And then a child's voice says, strangers, mama. And a woman's voice says, I see them. A man's voice says, what do you want?
No.
Right? The wizard is like,
That's a ghost.
the wizard is
Yeah.
like, I'm so sorry. Are there people in this room? There are.
Yeah.
He's like, are you invisible?
And the man's voice again is like, yeah. Or, well, okay, the man said that there were people in the room, but the woman's voice is like, yeah, of course. Like, are you surprised that you can't see the people who are in the land of Vo? And he's
That's
like,
kind of normal here
Vo?
in Vo.
yeah.
Isn't that
Vo.
such a pretty name?
VOE.
VOE.
The voices of Vo. I love
Vo.
Land of Vo. But the wizard's like, yeah, I'm actually surprised. Everyone I've ever seen has been visible.
Yeah, everyone I've ever met, I can see. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
but the wizard explains to them, like, we're originally from the face of the earth. We fell during an earthquake. We went to the land of the Mangaboos. The people of Vo are like, Mangaboos.
Yeah.
They know them. Okay.
Which again, I ask, like, has anyone else escaped the black pit and come through
well, it
here?
obviously
Probably, yeah.
brings them to where they are now. So I wonder how many people they have met
Yeah. If nothing else,
that have
just
escaped from the Mangaboos.
how many Mangaboos have been exiled, you know? Because it seems like they're not really that familiar with outsiders, but at least they know what the Black Pit is, and they've done that before.
That's a
That's
good
not the
point.
first time they entombed someone.
Yeah.
So they must have seen people before. I don't know what happens to them, but also at this point, we've heard the voice of the man and a woman, and then like 2 children. So this is just a family. Like we're talking about a family.
Yeah,
here.
it's a family in this house. Like, we're still standing in the doorway talking in.
Yeah.
But the family offers them a seat at their table and some food to eat. They can tell that the man has gotten closer to them. Like, Zeb can like feel he's closer and like kind of jumps back, and like he can hear the kids kind of like laugh at that.
Yeah. It's creepy.
That is
But
creepy,
the man is standing near the door, they can tell, and he confirms that by like talking next to them, and he's like, what is that strange animal eating my grass?
Yeah.
And
And,
they're- yeah.
they're like, oh, well, that's our horse. That's Jim, and he pulls our buggy.
Well, what's Jim good for?
Well,
We just fucking said.
he pulls the buggy.
Can he fight?
No, he can kick really good, but he can't really fight. And what do the children
Like,
say?
fight who?
Then the bears will get him.
The bears.
The bears. And yeah.
Dorothy literally says, bears?
Oh my god. Like, do you see what my note says? Bears. Yeah, I hate that. I hate that we both typed it out, even though we knew what our own
That
notes would
is pretty
say.
scary.
It's horrifying. And the man's like, okay, yeah, like that's the one evil of our valley is that there are these huge bears who roam the
Oh,
valley.
they're so hungry.
Yeah, any
Giving
person,
cocaine bear.
any person they find, yes, any person they find, they'll eat them and they'll kill them. But since everyone's invisible, we really aren't often eaten.
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
Dorothy's like, okay, are the bears invisible too? Yes, they are.
They are, because they eat the dama fruit, which is the peach-like fruit that the pigs ate. So what we are having tonight is a dama fruit margarita, and it is named after the peach-like fruit in
We're
the book.
invisible right now.
We're currently invisible.
Charlie, can you see us? Oh wait, he's drinking it too.
Wait, Charlie.
God.
Oh, but so this is relevant because earlier when it's like, well, can the pigs see each other? No, because the bears can't see the people who eat dama fruit.
They're all invisible.
So everyone's invisible to
So
each
that
other.
family
So that family hasn't
cannot
seen
see
each
each
other.
other.
Yeah. I guess until it wears off, if it does. But
Dorothy's like, why do you guys keep eating those if they make you invisible? And the mother is like, well, one, it's the most delicious fruit in existence.
Yeah.
And two, we stay invisible. Bears can't see us. I can't see them. They can't see me.
I survive.
yeah.
And then
Now
she's
eat
like,
your
yeah.
luncheon.
She's like, get in here and eat. End of chapter.
Yeah, and that after the very brief mention of the invisible bears who were stalking the land and somehow didn't kill them on their way to the cottage.
Yeah.
Thank
Right.
God. How horrifying
God.
if all of a sudden a
Get
little
attacked.
pig just disappeared into a bear's mouth, and then all of a sudden Dorothy gets a big scratch across her face and chest,
Yeah,
and then
the
oh
wizard
my
just,
God,
like,
Zeb
his
is being
neck
dragged away.
Bends and he's just like flung in the
Oh.
Oh
air.
God.
They're lucky they found the family
They have
first.
to make a fucking horror movie off of this book.
They will.
Seriously.
After we're leading
We're
the
gonna make
charge.
it happen.
But that is though the end of chapter 8, the Valley of Voices. And Blake, what would you call that?
Go home, folks. Nothing to see here.
You're getting too good at this. We do need to
Yeah,
switch it
that
up.
was a good list of chapters you just made. Thank you for listening to Oz Hour. Please join us next time as we continue with Chapter 9, They Fight the Invisible Bears. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Oz Hour Podcast for the latest on everything Oz. Oz Hour, created and hosted by Blake Stone and Wyatt Swangham. Co-hosted by Hannah Aguirre. Audio production by Charlie Johnson. Theme music written and performed by Rudy Klobus. Cover art by Valentin Lucas.